Hello everybody and welcome to the I'm your host today. My name is Sprinkles Nixon and I'm here to share and hopefully enlighten some people as well as learning new things, and I love to learn, so I'm very open to that. There's a topic that I'd like to share, and that's about cards. Now, I'm not talking tarot cards. I'm talking the regular, ordinary, but not so ordinary playing cards. You see, most people have never stopped to wonder about the many interesting things associated with our common playing cards. Why, for instance, there are 52 cards in a deck. Why? Why 4 suits? What do these suits represent, if anything? Where did the playing cards come from? I'd like to share with you some interesting connections that our cards have with our world and reveal to you why they are actually a calendar system that is intimately connected to our life here on Earth. The deck of cards is our calendar. Let's examine some of the things our little deck and calendar have in common. All right, here we go. First of all, as I just mentioned, there are 4 suits of 13 cards each, totaling 52 cards, plus a joker. Let's begin with the number 52. What else is there 52 of that is common knowledge? Well, there are 52 weeks in a year. Now, in numerology, we reduce numbers by adding their digits. If we reduce the number 52, we get 5 plus 2 equals 7, the number of days in a week, and the number of visible planets. 7 is a very magical number in many ways and is considered the most spiritual number. It is also used extensively in many mystical traditions, including the Bible. Fascinating, isn't it? We can imagine that sometime in our ancient past, man discovered that a full year comprised something in the neighborhood of 365 days and nights. Looking into the heavens, they also noticed the sun, moon, and 5 other visible objects that we now know are planets circling our sun. Taking their combined number 7 and dividing the number of days into a year by it, they came up with 52 cycles in a year that we now call weeks. The wise ones realized that the number had much more significance and used the simple fact as a springboard for more advanced study. Once again, taking the numerology of the cards, we can assign numeric values to each of the cards. The ace is 1, the 2's 2, and so forth until we get to the jack. The jack is even the value of 11, the queen 12, and the king 13. Now, if we add up all the number values of every card in the deck, what do you guess will be the result? This means 4 times 13 for 4 kings, plus 4 times 12 for 4 queens, etc. Now, what would be the resulting total of every card in the deck? Did you guess 365? Well, that's pretty close. The total actually comes to 364. We know that there are 365 days and quarter days in a year. So what happened to the other day and a quarter? There is also another card in the deck that we haven't counted yet, and that is the Joker. And guess what? The Joker's value is exactly the 1 1/4, which brings the total value of the deck of cards to exactly equal the number of days in a year. The 12 court cards in the deck represent the 12 months of the year. The Joker's value of 1 1/4 comes from the fact that he is all of the 4 suits, plus himself. He stands apart as a unique balancing element in the scheme of cards and the many card personalities. These numeric values alone could convince the average person that there is more to a deck of cards than meets the eye. In fact, our deck of cards originated as a tool used to make calculations and estimations of time and movement of Earth and the other planets surrounding our sun. Using the most advanced techniques, a deck of cards has been used to calculate the exact movement of the planets in our solar system. The closer we look at a deck of cards, the more fascinating they become. Every aspect of their construction and design has significance and pertains to the world we live in. So, the Joker, there is one birthday of the year that cannot be read by this system. That is December 31st, the birthday of the Joker card. Since the person born a Joker can choose to be any card in the deck, it is impossible to read them. In the days of kings and courts, New Year's Eve was considered Fool's Day. On that day, the court jester would ascend to the throne and make jest of the king and queen and all the citizens of the court and county. He would imitate them all, showing them the folly of their ways and how absurd some of their pompous drama was. Perhaps this is why the Joker card is an enigma. The seasons of the corresponding suits. Let's look now at the 4 suits. Our cards are symbols, and everything about them symbolizes something. What do you think you imagine they represent? The numbers have meanings as well as the suits. Well, if you guess that the suits represent the 4 seasons and the 4 elements of Earth, water, air, earth, and fire, you are right again. All these sets of 4 things are connected, as anyone who studies the tarot or astrology will tell you. There is a suit for each season and element. Before we examine the suits and their meanings more closely, I suggest you look up your birth card, and I can then be able to let you know what the element is that you have going on around you. The first season of the year is spring. Animals are bearing their young. April showers are bringing a riot of colorful flowers. Love is in the air, and life is erupting everywhere. In the first season of our life, we are surrounded by the love and caring of our parents and family. This season is filled with love and life-giving rain. It's represented by the suit of hearts, which is the element of water, and would be the suit of cups in the tarot. In the Book of Destiny Systems, heart cards represent love and relationships. If your personal birth card is of the heart suit, you are a person whose main form of expression and whose personal karma is worked out through the vehicle of relationships. In addition, if you are a heart, you are essentially childlike in your nature, and you will relate well to children. You may even work with them. Hearts are the children of the deck, regardless of their physical age. No matter what your birth card is, when any of the heart cards appear in your yearly spreads, they will be referring to the status or quality of your relationships, or will tell you of changes in that status or quality. All of the marriage cards and most of the divorce cards are hearts. Okay, I'm just checking on the timing of things here because I have a few things I'd love to cover here with you. Okay, so going into the seasons of the cards. The next season is summer, and during the summer season of life, love and family no longer surround us. Instead, we find ourselves occupied by school, books, and knowledge. In this season, we leave the love and tears of childhood behind and turn our attention to more educational pursuits. The suit that corresponds to summer is clubs, which is of the air element. This is the same as the sword suit in the tarot clubs, representing the status of our mind and mental pursuits, acquisition of knowledge and communications. Those who are born in the suit of clubs work with ideas, points of view, and the ability to communicate. For them, the idea and concept of a person or thing is often just as important as the thing itself. Clubs are the eternal college students, usually eager to learn new things and interested in the details of life. And when you find club cards in your yearly readings, these will tell you about the status of your mind, your ability to communicate, or the success or failure of your mental pursuits and interests. These pursuits would include publishing, teaching, writing, and public speaking, or going to school. In the autumn season, we are harvesting the fruits of our efforts, reaping the riches we have sown in the soil of our lives. It is in the autumn season of life that we generally accumulate wealth and property. Diamonds represent this third season, and they coincide with the element of earth and the suit of pentacles in the tarot. The most common meaning of diamonds is money, though on a deeper level they represent what we most value in life. Those born as a diamond card work out their karma with money and values. Diamonds are the adults of the deck, and diamond children do not like being treated as anything other than adults. When diamonds appear in your yearly spread, they are usually referring to status of or changes to your money supply. All of the money cards and diamond cards, though some of them point to the status of your basic value system. It is in the winter season that death and transformation reign supreme. After the harvest, winter sets in, and much of what was born in the spring dies away. In the winter season of life, we prepare for and eventually experience our own death. Health concerns become more prominent, as well as our interest in our spiritual life. Though the shadow of the grave digger's spade is ever present on our minds, so too is the promise of a new spiritual life. This promise, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, makes the winter suit the suit of spades, the most powerful suit. I'm sorry, suit. The transformation quality of the last period of our life connects spades to the element of fire and the suit of wands in the tarot. Spades are a more complicated suit in some ways because they represent work and health on a basic material level. But on a deeper level, they represent spirituality and the condition of our inner fire. All of the traditional death cards are spades. Those born a spade card usually have a very strong materialistic nature or a very spiritual nature, sometimes both. In any case, they are very hard-working people. Spades are the old people of the deck, often showing more wisdom and maturity at an early age. They usually focus much on their attention on the perfection of their work. When spade cards are found in your yearly spreads, they will be telling you about the status or change in your work or health. On a deeper level, spades can tell you about the status of your spiritual endeavors. Okay, so we've gone through a few of the suits here, and being that we're on the spades, if you get out a deck of cards right now and you start to look through them, you will notice that the ace of spades is much different than the other aces in the deck. First of all, it has a much larger symbol in the center of the card. Secondly, and on many decks, you will find that the center spade symbol has been ornately decorated, often very beautifully. Usually manufacturers will place their company name on the card somewhere. Do you know why the ace of spades is so different? Most of the manufacturers don't even know, but it's because the ace of spades is the card that represents the order of the Magi. So, and the secret societies of old, that's what the symbology is in it. It has the secretness, the more than consisting of. It is the one card above all others that represent the secrets that are there to be discovered by studying the cards in depth. In our system, the ace of spades represents secrets as well. It is the card that represents the science of the cards. The ace of spades has been a symbol of death as well. It is likened to a single bullet that ends our life. Many cultures have used this card in film and literature as a death symbol. It holds true here as well. The ace of spades is one of the more powerful symbols for personal transformation and in some cases even physical death. Okay, so there's a little book that's called the Little Book of the Seven Thunders. Well, it's not really very little. Matter of fact, it's huge. But now that we have learned a little about the fascinating things that the cards have to our world, let's look a bit at the history of our cards. First, consider this verse from the Bible. And when the seven thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write, but I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Seal up those things uttered by the seven thunders, and write them not. And I took the little book out of the angel's hands and devoured it, and it made my taste. It was sweet as honey. But as soon as I had devoured it, it became bitter unto my inside. And he said unto me, You must prophesy again before many people and nations and tongues and kings. And that was in Revelations 10:4 and 10 and 1. Okay. Or in 11, I'm sorry. The first known book ever published about the system of divination and self-understanding is the Mystic Test Book by Unley Richmond, Alnay Richmond, who originally published it in 1893. Mr. Richmond was at the time the Grand Master of a secret society known as the Order of the Magi. He claims that his order was instructed since the day of Egypt to keep the secrets of the cards alive and protected until the proper time for their revelation to the world. Richmond claims that the above passage from Revelation, if translated with awareness of the subtleties of spiritual discernment, reveals that the little book mentioned is the book of our same 52 cards. According to Mr. Richmond, these passages clearly indicated that the mission to keep their secrets hidden from the reach of the common man until the time was right. Whether this is true or not, it is interesting to note that this book was the first book to reveal any of these secrets. No other books had been found with any similar materials prior to that time. Richmond goes on to explain how the cards must have originated in Atlantis, since all major civilizations claim their originated from their inventions, and then goes on to explore many other facets of the cards that are both fascinating and amazing. Having read his book several times and used the cards as long as I have, I still have to begin to understand some of the topics in that book. I will say, however, that based on what I've learned so far, it's clear to me that if were to completely understand their numbers and meanings, we would have a tool that could easily give us specific information about almost any area of life or science. His is a fascinating book that can still be purchased at some metaphysical bookstores. One other interesting fact he discusses is that he would like to mention is that over the years, card manufacturers have tried unsuccessfully to print cards with different faces on the queens, kings, and jack. Even today, if you go into some of the larger game stores, you will find a host of other kinds of playing cards. Some will have Oriental characters, some will have the faces of famous people on them and the like. And at any rate, if you ask any card manufacturer, they will tell you that these variations of cards never sell that well. And Richmond claims that the reason the other variations of cards that do not sell as the decks of cards have a mystical potency, which maintains the integrity of their original design. For this reason, he says, the other cards never sell. They can't sell them. People don't care for them. Omni says that the members of their order were instructed never to deface, alter, or otherwise change the cards in any way. For this reason, I personally recommend that when you choose cards to use to do your weekly readings, choose cards that are on the original design and avoid cards that are different. This includes cards that have the larger numbers and the reduced faces. Stick with the old standbys and your chances of obtaining an accurate reading will be increased. I hope that I've stimulated your interest in not so common deck of cards. and we will begin to learn more about you and your place in the cards as we uncover more of its secrets. Keep in mind that the science you and I are now learning has been around a very long time and has many connections to your past heritage. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm introducing you to a new look, a new way at looking at cards, and your ordinary deck of cards, not the top tarot. Although the similarities really are quite connected, I must say. But you see, what I do is what I call a forecast reading, and I do it for a year, the expansion of a year's time. So let's say if you came to me in February, I would give you the full year to the following February afterwards, and give you a reading on that. Now, it involves an awful lot of information and the different things and how a particular card can be your birth card. So when we have the birth card, we can go into many different areas of how it is with you. There's also things that can tell us about what your birthday reveals about you and your personal relationships. There's these things, and the timing of them that will take place is really quite amazing. But I wanted people to know that just an ordinary deck of cards can be a very, very powerful insight. And if I can get it out there to you so that you can see for yourself how it relates. So we're going to take a little break here, and then when I come back, I'm going to be going a little bit more into what is your birth card. Okay, so stick around, don't go away, and I'll be right back.
Strikes by my window, hits my chest right in the morning, like a warning. Could have slept here for days. I felt your heartbeat, felt your mouth breathe, but it's not real. We were close to see the sun, but clouds got in our way, and so
Hello and welcome back to the web. I'm your host, Sprinkles Nixon, and today what I'm doing is I'm kind of going over doing readings by ordinary um, deck of cards, not the tarot cards, but the ordinary deck of cards. And it's something that I do on the side of things, to where just like if you would get an astrological chart, you would also get a birth chart reading, and it would be for a year. That's how I work with them. I bring the year in, so you can have a look at what can be coming up and how you'd like to handle it, because we all do have our own willpower, and we make our own choices and decisions. But this is something that I'd like you to get out to be a little bit more aware of, and how it can be of help to you. And as far as myself, I will be going over some of the things that are using my own birth card as a reference. I will be doing that. So all of the information that you will need to do a reading can be found in the cards. The most important card, the Pacific card that represents each of us, is our birth card. However, there are other cards that represent us and other people. There are also cards that tell us what the events will be in our lives. So in this segment, we're going to begin by looking at the cards that represent myself and the people I may know. Okay, so we call this group of cards the personal significator. Okay, the personal significator. Okay, what is the birth card? If you haven't looked up your birth card yet, you can do so by having me check into it for you. And the birth and planetary ruling card, I have a chart that is available for me to go and see what is what behind it. And as we begin looking at the cards that make up your yearly reading, we will want to know if any of the cards we find are either your birth spread of cards. You can learn much about yourself and about your friends and family by studying the spread of the cards. You can learn much more about yourself and your friends and family by studying the birth cards and knowing more about their meanings. Although I can't go directly into it, but there are means and ways that I can check out to see exactly what the personality is available through that birth card. Okay, so what I'm going to do is my birth card was, according to what I use as a birth chart, my birth card is the Six of Hearts. Now, I'm going to go into the Six of Hearts and tell you exactly what the Six of Hearts is in regards to. Okay, so let me do this here. Okay, the Six of Hearts. The Six of Hearts is the card making the peace. It's the card, the return of love and friendship and karma. A karmic relationship begins. So the basic meaning of the Six of Hearts is that it is a powerful influence of balance and peace in personal relationships. How it affects you will largely depend upon your current status in your love life and how responsible you have been in that area. This card will demand that all outstanding love debts be settled, and will encourage you to take responsibility for your actions and words in your closest relationships. You may find that you have to make compromises and adjustments to accomplish this as well. On a more universal level, the Six of Hearts may also reveal to you a special purpose in your life, one of helping others by sharing love with them. You may become aware of a special mission that you are to perform when this card appears. It is a card of peace and a card of intuitively knowing how to love others in a spiritual sense. Sometimes we have fated meetings when the Six of Hearts is present, and there are some relationships that are destined to experience due to our actions in previous lives. The Six of Hearts can indicate the timing of the beginning of beginning of such a relationship. Its actual position may tell just what sort of relationship it will be, or how and when you will experience it. So that's the Six of Hearts. There's and that's my birth card. But then we have it where the cards will be set up in a way that the planets surrounding us will be affecting us. And how they affect us and where they're coming in from. There is as we begin looking at the cards that make up your yearly reading, we will want to know if any of the cards we find are either your birth card or your birth cards of people you know. This will become clearer as we look at your yearly spread of the cards, and you can learn much about yourself and your friends and family by studying the birth cards and knowing more about their meanings. Although I cannot go into much detail about the personality of each card, there is a wealth of information about your life and personality available to be researched and checked into. The purpose of the cards for your destiny, for your yearly destiny, is to teach you the predictive aspects of this wonderful science. So for now, we'll talk about these cards just enough to help you learn how to do your own reading. It is important to know your birth card is the single most important of your personal significators. When we begin to looking up your yearly spreads, we will always pay more attention to the yearly spread of your birth card than any other. If you only had time to read the cards for one of your significators, you would always choose the birth card of that significator. Though the birth card is the most important of the personal significators, the planetary ruling card is close behind. It acts as a secondary symbol of your life and personality. Essentially, another card that we act like. And some people even act more like the planetary ruling card than the birth card. And when we do a personal reading, we will use the yearly spreads for both the birth card and the planetary ruling card, giving us 2 years spreads to consider. We find our planetary building card in the same way by looking up at a chart that is available and paying special attention to your planetary ruling card that is beside it. This means you were born on one of the cusp birthdays. So just like in the astrological charts, being on the cusp of a time has great significance. So it does with the planetary ruling card in the normal deck of cards. People born on the cusp have to first identify their exact sun sign before they can determine which card is their planetary ruling card. So you may want to learn more about that as time goes on. So this segment that I'm doing about this, there's so much involved, and you have personality cards, And there are different personalities as far as the gender goes as well. Um, if you're a female, let me go into that with the gender. If you're a female of any age, you always have the queen of your suit as one of your personality cards. For example, if your birth card is the Nine of Hearts, then one of the personality cards is the Queen of Hearts. If your birth card is already a queen, such as the Queen of Diamonds, then you would have the Queen of Diamonds as a personality card. Also, and in this case, you are already a queen in personality by birth. If you do have a queen as a personality card, the queen represents your feminine, romantic, and motherly side, and the part of you that is service-oriented. So it goes into different depths of things, but the personalities are absolutely amazing. And it goes with what is already stationed there, if you understand what I'm trying to say, as far as the planets and how they're happening, and the card that represents that planet and where it's taking effect in your year reading, in your yearly reading. Doing a yearly reading, there are several things that are going on, and I'm hoping I can cover for you here, but there's so much that's packed and ready to be applied, because it's a whole big system. And it's not something that can be easily taught, because it's taken me, myself, years. But then again, hey, you may just be able to do it, but me, it's taken me quite a bit to kind of understand exactly how this all plays out, and how the planets and the ruling planet card takes effect throughout your life. I've had some amazing responses for those to those people who I've already done a forecast for, and it was really quite connecting. And when they go over it and something takes place that has been pointed out, it seems as though it's quite significant that they do get back to me and they tell me, this is taking place. And my biggest joy is that it's been of help. And that's why I do what I do, because I like helping others. And then there's the timing of the cards, the natural cards, the ordinary, not so ordinary cards. The timing of what's played out there. There's a system for the cards to be drawn and applied, and it goes by a calendar of sorts. So, but I gotta tell you, if you're interested, I'd be more than happy for any of you to kind of let me know what's going on. I have it consists of also karma cards. It also consists of long range cards, relationship cards, and quite a bit of research goes into it. So I don't do a lot of them because it does call for an awful lot of research. But when it's done, it's packed full of information for you. Anyway, so I thought that this show would be kind of easy, giving me the opportunity to speak of doing the forecast readings, and that's what I call it. It's a yearly forecast reading, and it doesn't matter when you ask for it. It'll be from that month to the all the way the next 12 months. But again, it has so much in it, and the emotions that are taking place, the people. You can tell who the people are by the cards themselves that are being played, and that's what's fascinating. Just like the tarot, it's an amazing thing, and when you do and practice and continually doing more and more each and every day, it's absolutely amazing what comes through. And I don't know, I just felt that it was time for me to kind of bring out about the forecasting that I do on this, and I enjoy it. So, if you like, please contact me, and I'll have the link here in this posting. You can go to the website and go to services and click on sprinkle services, and you will scroll down and you'll be able to see the ordering segment of forecasting. Well, I hope you're of interest. Love any questions, please forward them to me either on Facebook or on the E-zine.com site. Thank you. Until next time we meet, love and light and blessings to you.